Hey everybody, welcome back to the DevRunner channel. My name's Paul, and I'm happy to have you here for the fourth installment of Subscriber Spotlight. Today I'm featuring a lifelong runner who's an ultramarathoner who just recently completed his first 100 miler and followed that up by running 350Ks in 5 days. But the reason I wanted to speak with him today is because of a video he recently posted on his YouTube channel, RunFreeandStrong. We dive deep into the ways he's used running to maintain mental and emotional stability despite a series of tragedies and challenges in his own life. So thanks for joining me. Now let's get right into it. Welcome everybody to another episode of Subscriber Spotlight. This is number 4, and I'm so pleased today to have Reto as my guest from the RunFreeandStrong YouTube channel and Instagram page. There's a lot to talk about here. Reto is a journeyman runner who's been at it for decades and recently has led us in through his channel to his journey as an ultramarathoner. He's done some amazing things lately, including a 100-mile ultramarathon, 350Ks in 5 days. It's just incredible. On top of that, his product reviews, his deep dives into how to become a better runner have just made his channel a staple of my viewing week every week. So I'm pleased to be joined by the amazing Reto today. Everybody, this is going to be a great journey. So without any further ado, Reto, thank you so much for being here.
Hey, everyone. Hey, thanks a lot, Paul. So first of all, Paul, I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to have this conversation and for your support and inspiration since we met. You probably know this, that you're one of my first subscribers to my small and growing YouTube community. So I'm grateful and humbled to have the opportunity to talk with you today.
Well, I appreciate that, sir. But, you know, it's ever since I discovered your channel, it's just been one of those things that I just kept gravitating back to because, you know, the quality is so high. You put so much work into every video and it shows. And you're just a great guy. So, you know, I feel like we've kind of become, you know, friends through this virtual community that we've been forming on YouTube. So, you know, it's a pleasure to speak with you. And, you know, just to jump into it, I'm hoping that you can bring all of my viewers up to speed with who you are. Maybe just a, you know, a short bio of who you are, where you live, you know, whatever you're comfortable with sharing.
Sure. So let's dive right in. So my name is Reto. I was born in Switzerland, moved to the US at the age of 12. I completed my schooling here in the US. And in addition to living and working here, I spent some time in Asia and Europe. I now live in Connecticut. I'm divorced. I have 2 sons. My parents and siblings are all in Switzerland, so I'm kind of the lone guy here in the US. Most of my professional life I've spent on Wall Street, first in investment banking and in technology. And most recently, as we'll go into a little bit, I was laid off due to a COVID layoff. So that's part of my journey.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, with all that, I'm just dying to know how you got started with athletics. I mean, what's your whole background, just generally speaking, even beyond running?
Okay, thanks. Great question. I have 0 athletic talent. I'll be the first one to admit that. I've always had to work harder athletically than everyone else. And looking back, that was probably a blessing. My parents always, you know, engaged us in outdoor activities like hiking and camping and skiing. So I actually started running in middle school and continued through high school and college. And I was very grateful for the opportunity to actually help initiate the women's track program at my university as a club sport. And after college, I continued, you know, but I struggled for many, many years with injuries until very recently.
That's great. That's so cool that you've experienced running on both sides as a competitor and as somebody who's organizing and helping others to find the magic of running for themselves. Have you been a continuous runner throughout your whole life, or were there gaps and you returned?
I continued, Paul. I continued, I think it was a great thing for me to balance my life professionally, family, and have that kind of opportunity to continue running. And as I had two sons, I included them. They wanted to come with me at a very young age, both at the age of 5. So we go out and start running a mile around the track, and then eventually in the woods. And that started their journey, and both ran competitively through middle school, high school, and in college.
That's so great.
So, it was kind of it was just a journey for me to kind of go through that with the kids and the family.
So as a lifelong runner, I know this may be a bit of a tough question because I'm sure you've got a long line of highlights, but I'm hoping that you can talk us through, I guess, your proudest moments as a runner.
Yeah, so thanks for asking. I think I would consider myself a very modest runner in terms of my talent and abilities, and I consider myself kind of a mid-pack runner. So I want to be absolutely humble when talking with you and your subscribers. I did have some pretty cool highlights. I mentioned the biggest one for me was helping initiate that women's club program at my university for track. I think that was just something that was very rewarding for me personally. And then, I think my running has continued through the years. I have very modest PBs. So I think kind of looking past college, I think that obviously coaching my sons was kind of for me also very rewarding and a big milestone. And particularly my youngest son, who's now a freshman in college, while he was in middle school and high school, was a national level runner. So to be able to go to some of the top venues into country like the Armory, the New Balance Armory in New York City, and have him compete there at a national stage as a parent was a pretty cool, awesome thing to see your kids kind of really enjoy themselves like that. So that's another kind of highlight, watching my kids and being there and helping them and supporting them. And then I think very recently, I made this kind of new part of my journey last couple of years to transition to more of a trail and ultra runner for reasons we'll go into. And I think just being able to complete my first 100-mile ultra marathon in November last year, and then doing the 350Ks that you mentioned, those to me are also highlights that I think I'll remember for a long time. Those kind of things change us, and hopefully make us better people, but they definitely have an impact that's beyond that just one day.
Oh, absolutely. It's just amazing. As a runner who's never gone further than 26.2 miles myself, your accomplishments are mind-blowing. When I watched your videos of your buildup, as well as the videos where you attempted and then accomplished that 100-miler, I couldn't believe it. It was just amazing, and the way you so systematically built your training to be able to achieve that was great for me. That was one of the first things on your channel that really sort of solidified the value that you were bringing.
The outcomes are awesome, but I think it's the journey and the process that I really enjoy, and learning about myself, failing in the process, going back and figuring out what went wrong and improving myself. That's really the fun part. And I think, for you and anyone else who's listening to this, to take away is I started that trail and ultra marathon journey about a year ago. Mm-hmm. Last summer of 2019, I suffered through a plantar fasciitis injury, and I had to take off about 2 months from running. I started from zero, Paul. And that's when I started my trail and ultra journey. And to be able to, within 12 months, complete a 100-mile ultra marathon, I think means if I can do it, anyone can do it, right? With the right mindset, the right goal setting, the right, passion, we can do this. It's not, I don't want people to come away and saying, okay, there are limits, I can't do this, it's not achievable. It is absolutely achievable.
Yeah, and a great message, and very well said, sir. Please forgive me. I'm just going to do a little reading here and then we'll get right into it. So many people discover the value of running, not just for physical fitness, but as a form of mental therapy or even meditation. You recently posted a video about the many ways that running has helped you to rise above many emotional challenges in your life. So that really resonated with me. So I'm hoping that, you can share again with my viewers, how running has helped you in that regard.
Sure. Yeah, it's a great question, Paul, and thanks for giving me the opportunity to talk about that. I struggled with mental health for several years. I'm a very private person, and it's not comfortable for many of us to talk about mental health. And the last couple of years for me has been one daily struggle after another. So I thought this would be a good opportunity to kind of come out, if you will, and share that with others for a number of different reasons. One is, transparency. So people know, being on YouTube, who I am and what I'm all about. So I wanted to do that. Two is to let people know they're not alone in their struggles. There's other people out there that are feeling the same pain. And that there's actually some things we can do about it, right? It's not all without hope. And that's part of the kind of the motivational message that I wanted to, with that video, I wanted to put out. I think for me that, as we just mentioned, the pivot started about 2 years ago. After 18 years of marriage, my wife, now ex, and I decided to part ways. And in the process, I became estranged from my youngest son. And that really, really hit me hard. And it forced me to look deep inside. And one of the things I realized was that I didn't love myself. And if you don't love yourself, how can you love others, right? So that started the whole process of kind of unpacking who I am, what I'm about, what do I want to change about myself. And that then started, I wanted to really incorporate running, not just as a sport, if you will, or as a fitness activity, but into kind of a holistic lifestyle to look at all the elements from physical to mental, emotional, spiritual, social, right? All those different angles. And, that's really what started me a couple of years ago on this kind of trail and ultra running journey. And in the video, Paul, you've watched it. So, I talk about some of my mental health issues and some of my struggles. And that includes, the divorce I mentioned, the estrangement from my son. But it unfortunately doesn't stop there, right? It goes into, I have two family members, my father, who is in his last days and weeks of fighting prostate cancer. My brother-in-law, who is an amazing triathlete, not an old guy, also in his last weeks, months maybe, with prostate cancer, now doing chemo. And then my youngest son, who transitioned from running into becoming a weightlifter, and that was kind of his way of taking care of his mental health, was getting really passionate about weightlifting. And he tore his rotator cuff and went through a failed surgery, and now over Christmas had a second surgery. So that was painful for me to see, because he wasn't able to lift for almost a year, right? So imagine if we could not run for almost a year. That's and then it just continued, right? So I lost my job because of a COVID layoff at the end of October. And I was, I knew it was coming, because progressively my company through the year laid people off due to COVID. We had multiple rounds, and I laid my whole team off, and I was the last man standing, if you will. I knew I would be in the next round. But, when you get that call from HR, it's still painful, right? And this is the worst possible time to be able to look for a job. And I've got, not just myself to take care of, but my family, my ex-wife, who I'm still close to, and my son. So that's hard, right? And in the video, I talk about kind of those daily struggles and why that prompted me over the holidays to put together that challenge. The holidays for me the last couple of years, for reasons I mentioned, have been not a happy time, not really a time to spend with family and friends and celebrate, as most of us do, but I've been alone, right? And I didn't want to sit there and feel sorry for myself. So I said, okay, what can I do to challenge myself, to put myself out there? And I decided to do this, 3 times a 50K, which is 31 miles each, trail ultramarathon in my local park, and do that over 5 days, and use that time to really continue reflecting and also talking about my struggles in mental health, and put a video together. It's not just about me kind of going on a rant and saying, hey, these are all the things that happened to me, right? Because that's just the context in the background. And then in the video, talk a little bit about what I'm doing and what others can do to help themselves. And that, I think, is the important part of the video that I want people to take away. And, just to kind of finish it with the exclamation point is, as I'm doing my third and last 50K, I get a message on my phone from my ex-wife saying she just tested positive for COVID. So I was like, oh my God, this stuff is just no end to it, right? And a lot of us are in that predicament, right? Where it's just like, it doesn't stop, it doesn't stop, it doesn't stop. And how do we not fall into a deep hole and start thinking, negative thoughts? And how do we get out of that? And that's what this video, that's what I would like people to take away from this video. And that's why I'm so grateful to you, Paul, for giving me the opportunity to come on your channel and your community and share this with you. Because I think there's a lot of positive and uplifting stuff that we can do.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And before we go any deeper, Reto, I just there's 2 things that I want to communicate to you. Number one is, I'm sorry for all the unfortunate situations that are happening with your family. There's nothing I can say that's gonna ease that pain, but I want to let you know that I empathize, and
Thank you.
Any one of those things would be enough to has the potential to crush somebody emotionally, and to have all that happen at once, it's remarkable that you have found a healthy way to deal with those emotions, and to find a way to actually balance your life despite all of that negativity, just to let just to say it in a raw way. As soon as I saw that video on your channel, my very first thoughts were, I want to amplify your voice, because the message of finding a way to deal in a healthy way with those kind of stresses needs to get out to more people. Because a lot of people, as I said when I introduced this question, a lot of people get into running just because they're looking for a way to drop some pounds, and it's along the way, and I'm included in this. Along the way, they find out what a great mental and emotional outlet running can be to help you. It allows you the time to think and stay balanced. And without running on too much here, I want to bounce it back to you. But that's why I wanted to have you on today, because I think your message is incredibly important. Because everybody's got stresses to one degree or another. Some less, some far worse, unfortunately. But I think your message is important. So yeah, please do go on about your process, the process that you went through while running that helped you to deal with all of these challenges.
Okay. Yeah. So thanks, Paul, for that, and appreciate the kind words from you. Means a lot. And just kind of to help everyone connect the dots a little bit, the running challenge was metaphorical and helps answer the question for me of, why do I run? And let me explain what I mean by that, right? How do I push through the pain of a 50K ultra, right? It's painful. Physical, mental, you go through highs and lows. It's 5-6 hours out there alone on the trails. And what would make me get up the next morning and get back out there and do it again? Not once, not twice, but 3 times, right? And I can tell you, I struggled with that, Paul. The next one up, I was like, do I really want to get up, get out in the cold by myself and do another one? This hurt a lot. And that to me is metaphorical, because it translates over to our daily struggles and our real life. when we're confronted with these challenges, these struggles, these hurdles, how do we not crawl into a corner or pull the blanket over our heads, right? But say, I'm going to go out there, I'm going to keep battling, I'm going to keep fighting, and I am motivated to run for all these reasons, right? Because I feel like if we can learn to push through these challenges, these struggles, running is a great aid, it's a great tool to help us push through the same kind of things in our daily life.
Yeah, well, very well said. It really does. They really do correlate. If you push yourself physically, you will find that there is a mental clarity that comes along with it. And I think that's something that is really, as far as therapy goes, as far as meditation goes, I think that's really only coming to the fore in the last few years, where people are finding that it's not metaphorical. There really is a physical connection between emotional well-being and physical well-being.
Oh yeah, that absolutely. I agree with you on that, Paul. And I think we've underestimated how powerful the mind really is. And I think we can, just like we are training ourselves physically as runners, we can train ourselves mentally as runners, and we can take that same training that we apply to push through hard things when we run, which is mental, also to our daily struggles.
Thank you for that, because you said it in a far more clear way. You've made that connection in a far more clear way than I ever could have. So thank you for being a guest here, just, for the whole wealth of the information that you're bringing, but especially that. But I do also want to ask you, what motivates you to run now? What are your future running goals?
Yeah, so I think, for me to continue running is paramount to how I want to lead my life, right? So I want to continue becoming a better version of me. And I know that sounds maybe a little bit trite, but I do, the retrospective I did over the last couple of years, I do have things I need to improve and work on personally, not just with my running. And I want to become a better version of me, and running is going to help me do that. And it's not just focusing on mental health, Paul. We talked a lot about that, but I'm 58. I have to do better with my physical health as well. And that includes, running, strength and mobility, nutrition, and very importantly, sleep. I think we underestimate the amount of sleep that we need and how much healing sleep can really bring, mentally, physically, emotionally. And so those are all things that motivate me to continue running, because I want to bring all that, like I said, holistically together. Mm-hmm. I also get very motivated because I've had so much fun and met so many wonderful people through running. So I don't want to leave the social aspect of running out, and make it all about mental health. There's a lot of different benefits that you and I mentioned. And then, again, going back to, having the opportunity and privilege to run with and coach my son. So there's a lot of things that motivate me going forward. And being able to share that journey and helping other people out is really a passion of mine. Yeah, and then you asked a little bit about goals, right? So I do have some concrete goals. Those are kind of high level, but, I'm planning to visit my family in Switzerland this summer. Assuming flights and all that are allowed, and combine that with running my first mountain trail race, which is the Swiss Alpine 68K in Davos. It's 42 miles with about 9,000 feet of elevation gain. So I think that's just a new challenge for me. Is going home, seeing my parents and my sisters and their families, and being able to go up in the Swiss Alps and run around and climb around these mountains and see what that feels like and what I can learn from it. It should be an awesome experience.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I hope you bring several cameras with you, because now that you've announced that to my audience, I know a lot of people are, first of all, going to be subscribing to your channel, and everybody's going to want to see the footage that you bring back with you. So yeah, please.
Yeah, it should be fun. It should be fun.
Oh, it's going to be awesome. I cannot wait to see it.
Yeah.
How has running changed your life for the better?
for me is a couple of things, right? I mentioned it's helped me become a better version of me. And there is the, accountability part of it that I think is very important with running, right? Running is all about how much you put in is how much you get out. And it's like that with a lot of things in life. And so I think that's a lesson for me was I probably did not put enough into my family and my kids. And that's where I ended up the way I did. And that's a tough lesson to learn, right? But it helps me become a better version of me because I now use words like humble and grateful and love and things like that, which were not really at the top of my vocab list years ago, right? So definitely that running has helped me in that way to hold myself accountable to a higher standard and become a better person. And as I said earlier in our conversation, I didn't love myself. Do I love myself now? I'm getting closer. It's a process that never ends, right? The work is never complete. We can always improve ourselves, but definitely that's how running has helped me.
That's huge. I mean, there's no bigger goal than that in life. And if
Oh yeah.
if running is the conduit for you to meet those goals, wonderful.
Sometimes we get too caught up in things we can touch and feel, which is, the Garmin's, right? The workouts, the Stravas, what's your PB, et cetera, right? We get too caught up in that. And I think we miss an opportunity really to explore the full benefits and potential of running, as we talked about in that. And one of the things to take away for people is, we're all competitive, right? We all like to smash and crush and do whatever, right? Our runs and it helps. They're confidence builders, no question about it. And it also plays into mental health. But I think it's important that we don't lose sight of the other things that running can bring to us, which is all about becoming better versions of ourselves and self-improvement and failing and learning our lessons and just keep going, right?
I would really like you to share a favorite piece of advice, in your case, for runners and for fellow YouTubers.
I want people to think about what they want out of running. I want people to dream big and set goals that are ambitious but reasonable. Don't limit yourself. You're capable of doing a lot more than you think you're capable of. Believe in yourself. And as we touched upon, just like we can train the body to run, we can train the mind to help us achieve some amazing things, right? And as far as the kind of the YouTube angle is concerned, I think let's use YouTube as a creative outlet to share our stories and our journeys, because I think people are interested in hearing that, right? Because it really helps them kind of with their own struggles. And that was part of my objective of doing that video, was just tell people, hey, you're not alone. We're going through this together. And if you're on YouTube, use that channel, use that opportunity, right? Use that platform. I'm small, and which is why I appreciate being with you, Paul, today, because you have a much larger platform. But that would be my advice to runners and to YouTubers.
That's great. Great stuff. Great stuff. I love the encouragement to share, to put it in different words, more of the personal side of yourself, because I think that's where the value is. Everybody's got a unique story. Everybody thinks about even the same situation in a different way. And, we can all help each other just by, sharing common experience. So thank you. Reto, at this point, I want to ask you, how people can get in touch with you, through social media or any other means that you, feel open to sharing.
Yeah. So thanks again, Paul, for the opportunity, and really enjoyed this and appreciate it. And the way I, as I mentioned, tend to be fairly private, so I'm not huge on social media, but I do have 3 outlets. One is YouTube. It's youtube.com/RunFreeandStrong. On Strava, my athlete name is just RunFreeandStrong. It's one word. So feel free to follow me on Strava. I'm very transparent. I put all my workouts out there. for people. And then Instagram, I'm not huge. I've started. I'm still building that a little bit. Again, it's Run Free and Strong, one word.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And I'll share all of those in the notes below. So don't worry about that.
Okay.
I'll make it easy for people to just click and they're there. With that, I just want to take the opportunity to thank you for being here today. Like I said, as soon as your YouTube channel came online, I knew I'd found a gem. So to have the opportunity to sit down and talk with you, no, seriously, thank you for sharing all that you do. And thank you for being here today. It really was a pleasure. We've talked about things here that, through the comments, you don't get an opportunity to really, dig as deep as we can here in a video interview like this. So I appreciate your time. I appreciate your openness, your transparency. And I wish you nothing but the best in your future, not just on YouTube, not just in social media, but just in life. And thank you for sharing it. I think you brought a lot of value to all my viewers through being so open and sharing.
So Paul, again, I'm just deeply humbled and grateful for the opportunity to chat with you today. So thank you so much for reaching out. And you've been an amazing friend, and I consider you a mentor. You've been very supportive and guided me kind of through this journey and give me a lot of feedback and encouragement and motivation. So really appreciate that from the bottom of my heart. So thank you. And also thanks to everyone who's going to be watching this. And, feel free to reach out, right? I'm here to help. If anybody wants to reach out, DM me on Instagram, whatever. And Paul, thank you.
My pleasure, sir. With that, everybody, thank you for joining us. As always, get healthy, stay strong, and keep pushing. Peace out. Bye-bye.